Okay, so now let's compare what we have done for the knowledgeable and diligent resellers, and then we will discuss about extensions and conclusions. So we now can answer our main research question: the knowledgeable or the diligent reseller, which one should we choose? Which one should we include in the supply chain? The answer is the following. The manufacturer can always induce a higher sales effort and receive a higher expected profit by contracting with the diligent reseller. Okay? Including the diligent reseller always induce a higher sales effort. So that means benefit the whole supply chain as a whole and gives the manufacturer an expected profit. So the manufacturer would include a diligent reseller instead of a knowledgeable reseller. The reason is simply a comparison. For the effort, we can show that the induced effort level for a knowledgeable guy is this one. The impact of the pure more hazard problem shows up here. For the diligent reseller, the result is just efficient. So we can show you that this is always better. For the expected profits, the case with the diligent reseller is also better, okay, because we have this direct comparison. So that's why we can tell you, we can guarantee that including a diligent reseller is better. So with this mathematical reasoning, now we have proved it. Now let's give some economic intuitions. So we say that in the lower level, the diligent reseller's monitoring is more effective. Okay? The knowledgeable guy can eliminate adverse selection. The diligent guy can eliminate moral hazard. Seems to be that one is better in one side. So it may be possible that one is better than the other in some cases. But we have shown that always the diligent guy is better. So there must be some difference between eliminating adverse selection and eliminating moral hazard. The difference is the following. When we have the pure moral hazard problem, there is a distortion. Okay? The effort level will be downward distorted with this moral hazard factor. Okay? But the pure adverse selection problem does not result in any distortion. Okay? The lower level distortion is nothing. We don't have a lower level distortion. We know for the upper level there is no distortion in either case, and in the lower level, the knowledgeable reseller creates some. Still have some distortions. Okay, so why? We want to know why. The whole reason for writing a paper or doing a research is to answer why. Okay, why having the diligent reseller is more effective? Why indirectly eliminate moral hazard is more effective in this case? The difference is the following. The diligent reseller can observe the sales effort, okay, and then can compensate the salesperson according to the effort instead of the performance. So this is the key difference. With the ability to see the effort level, the compensation can be made based on input instead of output. That means effort instead of performance. If we base compensation on performance, there must be some risk for the salesperson, and that's not effective for motivating a high sales effort. But if we base compensation on effort, okay, then there is no uncertainty for the salesperson. And for the risk-averse salesperson, this is the best way. This is the most efficient way to motivate a high effort. So the reseller, the diligent reseller, can exclude uncertainty in the salesperson's payoff, and that's why the result is more profitable. For the knowledgeable reseller, this is impossible. So even if the knowledgeable reseller can observe the market condition And if you really do the analysis, including the knowledgeable reseller can still reduce some inefficiency. But because the risk cannot be completely removed for the salesperson will still have some undesirable risk, and consequently the induced effort level will still be distorted downwards. Okay, so the key difference is that for the risk-averse salesperson, is it possible to remove all the risk? If that's possible, then the result is more desirable. Okay, so for the manufacturer and the reseller, we have the following discussions. We know in general, including a strong partner is not always beneficial because we may have double marginalization problem. Decentralization is always an issue. We need to make sure that we can do incentive alignments. We can somehow coordinate the system. Otherwise, how do we know including a new player is beneficial to ourselves? That's the issue. So we need to make sure that whether there is a double marginalization problem, especially when the new player is strong. We know the diligent reseller is stronger in motivating the salesperson. Okay, so the diligent reseller is a stronger player, a stronger partner. Including a stronger partner into the existing system may actually hurt the original player. So we want to analyze whether this will happen in our system. Certainly the answer is no, as we mentioned. Double marginalization can be avoided in the upper level. That means including one new player in this system does not hurt myself at all. I can somehow sell the business to the reseller and then somehow integrate or coordinate with this reseller. Okay, that somehow means here indirect monitoring is exactly direct monitoring, and the 2-layer supply chain is a 3-layer supply chain because I can sell the business. Sorry. So here there are something to keep in mind. I can sell the business to the reseller because I have these assumptions. First, the reseller does not have private information. If the reseller has, then this does not work. Also, the reseller is risk neutral. So this is the reason that I can sell the business to the reseller. That does not create any inefficiency because the reseller does not care about risk. If the reseller is also risk averse, somehow risk averse, then selling the business will not be accepted by the reseller because she does not want risk. Finally, we assumed that the reseller can pay any amount of franchise fee to the manufacturer. If this is not the case, then we cannot extract all the surplus from the reseller, and then there may be some issue about selling the business. Okay? So the story may become completely different if any of the above 3 assumptions is removed. But at least for our basic case, when we have these 3 assumptions, it is clear that in the upper level, including one reseller does not create any problem. And combining this with the result we have in the previous slides, we can guarantee that the diligent reseller is better. So now, the last question is direct sales and indirect. Sorry, this is the typo. This should be indirect sales. Direct versus indirect, or we say direct monitoring versus indirect monitoring. No monitoring, or indirect monitoring. Which one is better? I guess you can already answer this question because the concern about indirect monitoring is double marginalization. But because we do not have double marginalization, so indirect monitoring is direct monitoring, and it should be better than no monitoring. So that's true. Indirect sales with either types of reseller is more profitable than direct sales, as we mentioned. Double marginalization can be eliminated. So indirect monitoring is equivalent to direct monitoring, so that is beneficial. Again, if the three assumptions we mentioned in the previous slide are not valid, then direct sales may be better. Okay? If they are not valid, we have double marginalization problem. The incentive of the manufacturer and the reseller cannot be aligned, and the manufacturer will not extract all the surplus from the from the reseller. Then it's possible that including a strong guy or including a new player actually hurts the existing player. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. So naturally, you would want to ask whether those findings in this paper or in the basic setting will still apply when we have a different model. So we analyze this problem in this paper in two directions. First, we introduce some frictions, that means change of models, in which double marginalization can still be avoided. Certainly, we need to show, we need to prove that the incentive between the upper level two guys can still be aligned. Okay, we have those analyses, but here let me show you what are they. The sales outcome can be, for example, multiplicative instead of additive. So a higher effort is more effective in making a higher sales when the sales outcome, when the market condition is better. Okay, in this case, we can show you the result is the same. Effort cost can be generally different. So here, instead of 1 over 2, we have 1 over 2k, and when k becomes small or when k becomes large, the cost of exerting effort can become different, and that does not make any difference. We can have different timing. The market condition theta may be observed before the manufacturer designs the contract. In this case, that's not going to affect the diligent reseller because the diligent reseller cannot observe market condition. For the knowledgeable reseller, okay, the things will become different. The manufacturer cannot use a single contract for the knowledgeable reseller because now there is information asymmetry. So maybe you want to think about what will happen when the market condition theta is observed before the contracting stage. And the conclusion is that this will not affect our result. Diligent is better than knowledgeable. Think about why. Finally, we may allow different contract forms. You may allow the knowledgeable reseller to offer a menu of contracts, or restrict the diligent reseller to offer only a single contract. That's not going to affect anything. Yeah, and you may want to verify whether this is true or not. It's not a big deal. Or it's more interesting to discuss those frictions that will break down our three main assumptions. Okay, for example, we may assume the reseller's monitoring expertise is hidden. That means you can include a reseller, but you do not know whether it is knowledgeable or diligent. In that case, there is a information asymmetry between the manufacturer and the reseller. Or you may assume the reseller's utility function can be strictly concave. That means the reseller is risk averse. Or the reseller cannot pay too much to the manufacturer. That means there is some restriction on the fixed payment. Okay, with these three assumptions, new assumptions, the story will be changed, and in some situations, direct sales is better than indirect sales, and there are a lot of a lot of interesting discussions for you to discover, and I will not going to touch them. Okay, so conclusion. We studied a problem with both adverse selection and moral hazard. That's common in the practice because in many situations you see more than one source of information asymmetry. The impact of indirect monitoring is shown to be positive in general under our basic setting. And as we mentioned, when those three assumptions are not true anymore, there are something to show. In general, in most cases, still, diligent dominate knowledgeable, indirect sales dominate direct, but there are something different. Okay, we use a three-layer supply chain, which is interesting because now you have three players and a cascade of contract design, upper stage, lower stage. In our context, monitoring the salesperson is more effective than monitoring the market, or that means eliminating moral hazard is more effective than eliminating adverse selection. Okay, but in general, in practice or in theory, there are other kinds of mixture. It's not always that eliminating moral hazard is more important, certainly. Okay, so whenever you have a problem with moral hazard and adverse selection, you need to do different analysis. You need to do specific analysis to show which one to eliminate if possible. Okay, but in our context, observing the sales effort is better than observing the market condition. Okay, that's all of this paper. Thank you.